What's going on, everybody? Mayor Wilson for the Sports Arena here live on a Wednesday night. As you can see, I got our Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price, in the building alongside the West Coast, the left coast, my man Mike Caratenuto, and of course, John Shear is in the house. Good evening, everybody. We got a lot to get to, so we're not going to waste any time. But I do want to start the show with simply this, because we found out today there is a true possibility after 150 plus days that Brittany Griner might actually be back home. And so I just want to start the conversation by saying, if that is the case, thank you to our chief executive, to the man in charge, and to the powers that be for making this happen. Now I know there's still some paperwork that needs to get done and things need to happen, but we finally have some semblance of the true possibility of this young woman coming home. So Megan Price, Queen of Hoops, talk to me about what you know more about this.
And so they offered to go ahead and do the prisoner exchange for the arms dealer that that we knew that they were seeking, and I think they said a few weeks ago, I want to say up to a month ago, that they were willing to do this. And so for them to go ahead and bring it into the news now, I feel like there's probably been some traction. She had to plead, she had to testify. She did testify this week. So I feel like it's close to getting done. There was a couple people that traveled from the United States to go try and assist this process. And so, I'm along the same lines with you, Eric, that I think that this is really close to getting done. Today was actually the 160th day that she's been gone. So hopefully she's able to come back. We can do this exchange and go from there.
Mike, you out there on the West Coast, the left coast, you're knee deep in Phoenix, brother. What's been the talk?
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the All-Star game too, they talked about, even they were at the All-Star game, but even the ESPYs, I mean, when they were up on stage, like, keep saying her name more and get it out there and, keep putting the pressure on. And Megan's right. I mean, it was Russia would, as we know, agree to a prisoner swap, especially with getting someone back they call the merchant of death. So I mean, that's kind of an arms dealer, but at the same time, like, you're going to get two Americans back. And for Brittany Griner, though, I mean, again, it hasn't stopped here in Phoenix. I mean, you get like the daily updates too, injury updates, and it just says Brittany Griner. I mean, has been there all year, obviously not with the team, but yeah, I mean, it was going to take time. They still have to save face, whether they agree with it or not. None of us agree with it. Obviously, you can understand she's wrongfully detained, but Russia's going to save face. And I mean, the one thing we have learned from this, Eric, it's crazy how, and it's not even because she's an athlete, how fast they're right, wrong, or indifferent, how fast their judicial system moves. So I think to Megan's point too, that's 160 days is a long time, but this is what's fast tracking this to get her back here, faster. So everybody here has been talking about it and stoked. And throughout the WNBA, we've talked about it, but definitely here in Phoenix, everywhere you go, they're still doing her, shoe drive. I think I mentioned that to you a few weeks ago. They were out on the streets doing her shoe drive, making sure, homeless people obviously have new shoes, because I know all kidding aside with the weather, when it's 120 out, you'd like to have soles on the bottom of your feet, Eric, because it's pretty hot pavement. So they all her initiatives are still doing, and they get in front of cameras and say her name, and Secretary of State, and everybody says 160 days. Lastly, I'll leave it at this is slow. I mean, and it is, but Russia still had a safe face, and you still have to figure out who you're bargaining with and who you're going to swap, because Victor, and I forget his last name, but the merchant of death, I mean, he had a 25-year sentence.
Bout. Victor Bout.
Yes. Yeah, Bout. Yeah, he had a 25-year sentence anyway. So, I mean, that's what you're looking at. And again, we all said it's political from the beginning, which is annoying as hell. The CBD oils don't contain any marijuana. I mean, anybody that uses them knows you're not getting high from it. So it's all about saving face and political crap. And, they're trying to justify going to a war. So,
all right, John, let me ask you this question. Will she play overseas again?
Not in Russia. Maybe other places, but not Russia. I think she'll play overseas, but not Russia. So my question is, will he just go to jail in Russia? Is that what's going to happen? Or is he just like a free man there.
Well, I think they're
Freedom.
going to try to negotiate that, John, like to put him in jail, maybe not in Russia, obviously not in the Ukraine, but maybe like somewhere like Croatia or something like that. But I think a true prisoner swap, you're not dictating details from everything I've ever learned.
No, of course, that
No, I
becomes
know you're not
Russia's
saying that, but I just don't think
decision.
Russia would, because he did this on American
Different soil.
Yeah, so
Right.
I don't think Russia would do it. But I mean, the U.S. could definitely ask for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
my
was just
hope-
curious,
Go
like
ahead, John.
in the trade, like is this guy going to jail or is he getting sent from America and he's a free man in Russia?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, we're not going
yeah.
down that road. I'm not
Right.
getting that political with it. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
well,
ask that
I mean, I had a point behind it, but you know,
All right, well then, all right, make your point, but I'm not trying to go down this rabbit hole.
yeah. I was just saying, like, if he is free, then I think the trade is stupid because you're letting a convicted arms dealer go free so you can get a basketball player back. I mean, that's nothing against Brittany Griner, but if you're giving up a convicted arms dealer that's a dangerous person, I think that's kind of a stupid swap. But if he gets to go free, if he's going to jail, then he can go to jail, and I'm glad Brittany Griner gets to come home and be free. That's how
So
I feel.
what was the point in this? Because I didn't, like I said, you're going down a rabbit hole. I'm not trying to go down with you. What was your point in that?
I think it's stupid that we're willing to give up a convicted arms dealer for Whalen
For a
and
woman
Brittany
who made
Griner.
a mistake that may not even wasn't a mistake. See, I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, but since you want to go here, Megan, Mike, give me a minute. Since you want to go here with this, John. Okay, this woman is not an arms dealer. This woman is not
No,
a
of
murderer.
course
This
not.
This woman is not a convicted felon. Okay,
No, of course not.
so she made an error. Okay, which probably, like Mike said, there is no marijuana in a CBD. And the important fact here is she needs to come home. So
But
whatever
if she broke the law, then she broke the law, right?
we don't. Okay, no, she pleaded guilty so she could
Right.
have a chance to come home. We have not confirmed that
Okay.
what was in her suitcase,
was
what
what
was
they
in her
said.
bag, actually had marijuana.
And we
They saw
probably
it.
never will, I assume.
No one never will. We're not privy to that information. We
Of
never will.
course.
But what I'm saying to you is, what she did is not something to where she should be locked up for 160 days.
Yeah, I mean, I agree if she's on American soil, but if she's on another one, then obviously, like I said before, you have to follow whatever rules they have, whether we agree with them or not. That's just how I feel. I like to make sure I ask all the
that's fine.
questions.
I just listen.
You know what I
what's
mean
the
in these
independentness?
instances.
'Cause
Can I chime in real quick? Okay, so she's been playing for this team. This would have been her 7th season with this team, and she handed in her resignation the day before that she was arrested, so that she would not be playing for this team. And I mean, I just feel like the timing. They knew what they were going to be doing. They knew that they were doing warlike exercises already on the borders of Ukraine. They knew what they were doing. And so they also knew that they had somebody that was in their country at the time and they could make a statement with. And they absolutely
Which
did.
I completely
So-
agree with you. Yeah.
Right. But I guess my point is this, and I agree, because you have to know what you're doing when you travel to other countries.
Right.
You absolutely do. And if it is in fact weed that was if it was THC that was in her vape pen, if she crossed state lines, she would be getting a felony in Texas. So, like that's even here within the United States. So yes, absolutely. You do need to know what you're doing when you're across in a different country. But she said that she had been traveling with it for the last 6 years and she had never gotten in trouble for it. Doesn't make it okay, but they decided, the day after she turns in her resignation that, we're going to hang her up for it, and she's in a country that hates African-American people or that hates African people and they hate gay people. So, I mean, she was a prime target.
And I'm sure we'll find out a lot more information.
Right. When she gets back.
She's going to tell us everything.
Maybe. I don't know if she'll be
and the fact
to
is she
say.
may not. And you know what? If she doesn't, guess what? That's her right. I just want her back. Bottom line. All right. We're moving on from this because this is a conversation that could clearly go all night. And like I said, I did not want to go down that rabbit hole with this. So let's move on. So we saw and we found out that yet another veteran wide receiver has made the move yet again. Julio Jones went from Atlanta to Tennessee and now is back in the NFC South playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mike Caratenuto, Give me your thoughts on this.
Well, look, Julio Jones is always my guy, especially in his prime. I mean, I was a kid with you, but I won quite a few fantasy leagues with Julio Jones because he may have not had the touchdowns, but he had the yards, and he would get touchdowns at some point. But no, look, I mean, is it a good pickup? And it's the same thing, even though, I like to tease you about the Eagles, Eric, but it's the same thing I said about A.J. Brown. Julio Jones, if he can play, say, like at least 13 to 14 games, then it will be huge. But, I mean, he's had the hamstring issue, unfortunately, the last few years, which sucks for him. But is it a great pickup? Absolutely. You still get one of the top receivers in the game. And like I said, nobody 5'9" has still figured out how to cover somebody, Eric, that's 6'4" and that's jumping over him. So is it a great pickup for Tampa? Sure. Will he stay healthy? Again, and it's not even, and you know me, I hate injury prone, but hamstrings, no matter what, just always seem to come back, especially when, again, you're that kind of receiver. You're big, you're powerful. So again, I hope he does stay healthy, even though he's playing with that jerk that I don't like. But you know me, Eric. But yeah, no, is it a great pickup? Yes. From the outside of it, yes. If he doesn't play, I would say even if he doesn't play more than 10 games, it's horrible. It's bad for them. So we'll see what happens.
All right, but again, you look at the weapons that Tom Brady has.
Oh, it's sick. He
still has Mike Evans. Now you've added Julio Jones. Megan Price, my question is, what does this do for the Bucs with the new head coach transitioning from, defensive coach to head coach in Todd Bowles? What does that do for him?
I mean, I had to go back to Mike's point and say that this is completely and totally based off of his health. If he can stay healthy, we saw with, which, I mean, I know this is a different sport, but we saw how this lingering hamstring injury with James Harden, someone who is a similar age, has affected him for 2 different seasons. And we're not talking about just like a regular hamstring pull. We're talking about a grade 2 injury. So, this is pretty severe. He didn't put up great numbers in Tennessee because of this. And I'm of the opinion that his best days are behind him. Now, can he come in and can he make a splash within a few games? Can he make some big plays? Absolutely. But he's not someone you can count on to be, a WR2. No, not whatsoever. Like, he's your 4th option probably.
Wow, 4th option. Okay, well, that goes to John, because my next question was going to be, playing alongside Brady, certain players elevate their game. So my question, John, was, Julio, would he be 1,000-yard receiver in that system this year?
No, of course not. And he doesn't have to be. As long as Chris Godwin's healthy, you got Mike Evans, you know exactly what you're going to get. Leonard Fournette, if he can stop looking like James Harden in the fat suit, he's going to be fantastic for them. They upgraded the offensive line. They'd lost pieces, but they added some back. They have a lot of pieces. Let's not forget they added Russell Gage from the Falcons, who's a nice slot receiver. So they've got weapons. They still got Scotty Miller. So they have weapons. They're not going to put Julio in a position where he has to be that guy that was getting 1,300 yards. They're going to put him in position for red zone targets, which Tom Brady's going to put it right on the money whenever he throws up to Julio. They're not going to overextend him. They're going to make sure they keep him fresh, rotate him in. He's not going to be a guy that takes a back seat to anybody, but they're going to make sure that they keep him fresh so that way his legs, you know what I mean? Like, his legs stay fresh for the entire season, for the postseason. That's what they want to do, because he doesn't have to be that guy in Tampa Bay. You got Chris Godwin, you got Mike Evans and all those weapons, and then you got Julio Jones in the red zone and big plays across the middle whenever you need him. Like with all them guys, he doesn't have to be that guy.
Eric,
oh no, I agree. But if he's not on the field, he's not even UWR4.
And I think he's capable. Like, Eric, if you told me, like, if you asked me, can Julio Jones go out and get 1,200 yards with Tom Brady this year? Hell yeah, he can. Like, if he says,
I only said
1,000. He can. Like,
I just said 1,000. I didn't say,
but, no, I'm saying, like I still think he's capable of that, but he doesn't have to be anymore. Like, he's in such a great position to where he can go and get a championship and he can still make big plays. And, I think it's perfect for him and Tom Brady.
And Eric, the other thing too, I'm not saying he's Gronk all over the field, but signing Kyle Rudolph, because Kyle Rudolph in the red zone will take some, especially if Julio Jones, obviously at 6'4", you want him in the red zone. But Kyle Rudolph, again, has just been a red zone killer, no matter, even if he's, playing with your not best friend, Kirk Cousins. Or even, I mean, with Daniel Jones and the Giants, I mean, there were times when the offensive line actually blocked for Daniel Jones, and you still know what Kyle Rudolph can do. I'm not saying he's the same as Gronk from the 20 to the 20.
It's not like he lost any
But-
size,
right,
Mike.
but inside the 20, Kyle Rudolph definitely is that guy too. So that'll open up the middle. And plus, I saw today too, Eric, and I meant to message you, but it looks like Chris Godwin. They said he could be ready for week 1. I mean, he's in camp right now, and they said pup, but they say he'd be ready for week 1.
Don't rush that man back, please.
I
Tampa.
don't think they
The comment, Denzel in the comment, I'm going to say under. I think 750 yards is what he tops out at. Now, do I think he makes some big plays? Do I think they're important plays? Yes, but tops out at 750 yards.
Listen, all he needs.
And
I
that
did
may
the
be
math.
all they need. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking it, but I'm
60
just
yards
saying
a game.
under 900.
Okay,
I just have a question.
That's all he needs. He needs 60 yards every game.
Yeah.
Let him get 1 or 2 plays to where he can get it 25, 35 yards, and then once he gets his 60, be like, all right, I did my job for the day. You know what I'm just saying.
Did the
Go
Bucks
ahead,
make
John.
sure that there's no incentives in his contract to where
That's
he has
what
to
we
get like a
don't
certain
know.
number of yards?
Stop
Because we've
it.
seen that before with Tampa Bay receivers.
No.
Bruce
you're right. That's what
Arians
we
is
do.
not there. Bruce Arians is not there anymore.
Okay, so yeah, let's answer Denzel's question. Megan, he said over under at 900. Megan, what are you saying? Over under.
Under.
John?
I think under. I mean, he doesn't
Mike?
have to be.
Going over 950.
I'm gonna say the brother's gonna be 1,000-yard receiver. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Because if you only need 60 yards a game, and y'all are saying, Megan, you're calling him a wide receiver 4. You know
I
what
am.
I'm saying? So I'm just like, let the brother get 1,000. He's just I like Julio.
Eric,
Okay.
you just
I mean,
brought
don't
up
get
a
me
great
wrong.
point.
He's an excellent WR4. Don't get me wrong. That's an
No, but
excellent.
I see, Megan.
But
I think
that's
you're
what he
discrediting
is.
him.
Megan, if he's a
Not
WR4,
discrediting him.
then that means if they're in 4 wide receiver sets, that means like the second or third corner or the nickel corners covering them. Sorry, that's not covering because Julio's going to destroy them. So to your point, yes, if he's a 4 and getting that kind of coverage, because we all know Mike Evans is going to have the best corner on him as he should. And
He's
that's
not their WR2. He at best.
No,
he's
but
their
I'm
3,
saying that's
but
what I'm
he's
saying.
likely
But he's
their
saying
4.
like the worst corner
Even
they
as a
got is
4,
going to be
he's
on
still
Julio.
going to have like a nickel
Right.
corner or that free safety. Again, not that they can't run with him, but still, there aren't free safeties that are 6'4" that are out jumping Julio Jones. Matt Ryan, again, no matter how you feel about Matt Ryan, he put that ball up high and accurate to Julio because guess what? Nobody else was catching it.
And who can throw an accurate ball? Not Tua, Tom Brady. Anyhow,
Oh,
we are going to take a
Right,
real
hold
quick
on, no
break.
way.
We are going to take a
You're
real
just
quick
taking
break.
shots
When we
from
come
the
back,
WNBA comments.
please, we are going to move on. We're going to stay in the NFL, but we are going to talk about an individual who got his money, but it came with some stipulations. More with the crew when we come back. Welcome back to the Sports Rain on a Wednesday night. Your man, Eric Wilson. Of course, I got the whole crew, Megan Price, John Shear, and Mike Caratenuto. So let's talk about one Mr. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray got his extension. He got his money, $160 million. But it came with a stipulation that the word that I have heard over and over again with regard to this portion of his contract is simply stupid. This man is required to watch 4 hours a week of film study. That is a part of his contract.
Do not forget, Eric. He also cannot be distracted while he's watching those 4 hours. He cannot be distracted at all. So it's not like he can play on his phone or do anything like that. If he does any of that, the bonus is gone. So he cannot do that. I don't know how many strikes he gets, but that's also part of it, is he cannot be distracted.
Okay. I understand all of that, but my question to you is simply this. Why are we hearing about this? Because this makes absolutely no
Right.
sense to me. Like, why was that so important that it needed to be added into his contract? Mike Caratenuto,
Mm.
make some
I mean,
sense of this, please.
yeah, no. When it came out, I mean, it's like you know how I feel about it, Eric. It's the same thing when they scrub their social media accounts. I could care less, right? It has nothing to do with where they're going to be playing, what they're going to be doing. But with this, like, yeah, I mean, now you let it get out. I mean, there's always ridiculous stipulations in contracts. I mean, you could go across sports. I mean, and I'm sure in football there's been a few. In baseball, I mean, I know guys have gotten, in football too, guys have gotten fined for playing, basketball during the season, even if it's like a charity thing, a 5-on-5, they can't, even in the bye week, like baseball players. I mean, like I've seen baseball players, I've talked to baseball agents, like you can't go skiing during the season. You can't go skydiving. You can't ride a motorcycle. You can't, like, they put that in because you figure you're not going to jeopardize yourself that way anyway, but yet players have. But with Kyler Murray, like, it's trying to say, like, it does make him look bad. I heard a lot of, obviously, the reaction yesterday and just reading, like, it says, okay, so now he's not studying at home. It's like these guys are in the facility 8, 9, 10 hours a day anyway when they're there. So it's like, they're watching film there. So this is like independent study. And I mean, I've seen memes and it is pretty funny. Like, oh, what do they do? Put them in timeout in the corner. And like, you see like, this room with like the Xbox and like everything leaving the room. It was pretty funny. But I mean, does it make him look bad? Sure, a little bit. But I mean, look, you give somebody that kind of money and you want to put whatever stipulations you want. If they don't fight it or the agent doesn't fight it. I mean, Kyler Murray in his press conference says, I just let my agent deal with all that. It's been a long off season. I'm not I'm not a big social media guy, but taking, all the abuse, I guess, for his agent doing, going about it the way he did. Like, the Cardinals want those stipulations in there. He wants to deliver a championship. So it does make him look bad. And out here, like I said, the memes are aplenty, Eric. I mean, you could just imagine, a kid him doing the little seance thing with like the video games in the corner and like a movie on in the background. That was pretty funny too. But I mean, it makes both of them look bad in a way, because why would you give me $250 million or $230 million, Eric, with 160 guaranteed, if you don't think I'm prepared and if you don't think I'm going to bring you a championship?
I mean, so that's my question, and I want to go to Megan on this one. So, Megan, I said this a while back. I said 2 years ago, Tom Brady and Tampa Bay Buccaneers rewrote the history book. They were the first team to play, host, and win a Super Bowl in their own stadium.
Right.
The very next year, the Los Angeles Rams, who got Matthew Stafford, Odell Beckham Jr., already had Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, were now the second team to play, host, and win a Super Bowl in their home stadium. Well, this year's Super Bowl is in Mike's backyard. It's in Arizona. So it's like, was that an added pressure that the organization said, we need to be the third team to do this? Because they say things happen in threes.
Right.
So was this just like, okay, we are dotting all our I's and crossing all of our T's so that we are putting ourselves in the best position? Because the NFC is open. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. Outside of Tampa, Green Bay, and then everybody else.
Rams.
Okay, Rams are the champs. Excuse me. Yes. Outside of those three teams, it's completely wide open.
Kirk Cousins, your guy, you got to add him in there.
Megan, like I was saying,
right.
I don't
there
even
is a
put
true
there.
opportunity. Okay?
I didn't take it that way, like they were, crossing their T's and dotting their I's. I felt like if I'm the Cardinals, I do not want this to get out about my quarterback. Like, obviously, it shows a sign of laziness, shows some weakness in that. And y'all know I'm a Spurs fan, so like I just love that Pop pedigree, and so laziness is just not tolerated. There's a story about Pop having everybody over for Christmas, and then all of a sudden TP and him just disappear. It comes to find out Christmas Day, TP's getting his behind chewed out, watching film in Pop's theater. Like, you have to perfect your craft, especially if you want to get to that top platform. Like you definitely have to perfect it. And so if I'm the Cardinals, I don't want this getting out that my QB is lazy and doesn't study film, because you can be in the facility 8-9 hours a day. You can actually sit there and watch film in the facility, but are you really digesting it? Or are you just going through the motions? And so I don't understand why they let this get out. Kyler already has things about his physique that are working against him. And so on top of that, you don't want to let people know that he's lazy.
Well, and Megan, I think it comes down to the lazy thing. And lastly, I'll say this, Eric, it's one of those things, and we've talked about it a ton on the show, obviously, that the Cardinals the last 2 years have started out hot and down the stretch faded. This year, they just got off to such a good start that being around 500 in the stretch didn't hurt them. 3 teams from the West went to the playoffs. They lose in the first round of the eventual Super Bowl champs. It looks bad. So it's the fading part, but I mean, that's the only.
Well, they're not starting out hot this year because they don't have DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the season, so they're not starting out hot.
We'll see.
Will they start out mediocre? Will they start out a little lukewarm? But they're not starting out hot.
All right. Well, we'll save that for our AFC and NFC predictions, which will start in just a few weeks.
Well,
and
they do open up against the Chiefs here. They open up against the Chiefs. They open up against the Chiefs here.
Lukewarm.
All right. Well, when we get to our predictions, we're going to start with the West. So we're going to do the AFC West come August 8th. And then following on August 10th, we're going to do the NFC West. So, stay tuned for that as we get into that and kind of break that down and give you our predictions. Let's move on. And it's going to pain me for this segment. I just have to say this because I have to sit here with a very somber feeling, knowing that $500,000 slipped out of the fingers of my WNBA team. So I'm going to let John go first because I know he's chomping at the bit to say something to me, in the fact that I am saying it, congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces on winning the Commissioner's Cup. My only caveat to that is, like Kobe said to MJ, rest in peace to Kobe, we gonna see y'all down the road.
Exactly. I mean, I don't take anything from this. You lost. I mean, the Aces won. So, they're the best. To me, even though the Sky have been better lately, the Aces are the best team in all of the WNBA right now. Out of everybody, I think we all agree, the Aces are the most dangerous team. So, the Aces winning it, big surprise. They've been the best team basically all year. So, I'm not going to knock you, Eric. It's the Commissioner's Cup. It's really not. It's not going to affect the Sky at all for the playoff run. They're getting to the playoffs. They're in the playoffs, and they're going to be formidable. So you know what I mean. This doesn't affect them whatsoever. Maybe the money, I guess, would be helpful, but other than that, playoff wise, it doesn't matter.
Well, the money was huge because part of it, does go to the team, but then part of it also goes to the community.
I'm saying for this season,
no, and I get what you're saying. It
don't affect nothing.
You're right, Mike. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna tease you a little bit, but man, Pac-12 girl Kelsey Plum, shout out. I mean, the year she's having, and whether it's Becky Hammond that's done it. Again, the Aces are obviously a very solid team, but what Plum is doing shooting wise, I mean, what her shot glass MVP from the All-Star game proved that. Wait,
did you see the even smaller trophy that she got from the commissioner?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The shot glass one, the MVP.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah. Although they did myth bust it, it cost a lot more than $8 to make. Everybody thought it was $8. That was false. It is proven fact. It was false. No, but look, I mean, the way Chicago played, it was a good game. I mean, full disclosure, I totally spaced and didn't tune in until the third quarter, and I was like, damn it. But I mean, just watching both teams, I mean, yeah, it could be a finals preview. There's obviously going to be
No, Mike. I'll just go ahead and on record. It is a finals preview.
Okay, in your opinion,
I'll be between Chicago and Vegas for the
WNBA. In your opinion, I'm just saying there's a few other teams.
Conference finals.
Connecticut, Seattle, kind of laying around.
Wait. Hold on. John Shea just said 2 magical words. Say that again, John.
You're the same guy that said the Sixers were going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you said book it. So I want you to book this too.
John.
Go ahead, book it.
John.
Wow.
This is water, but it could be tea.
John. I am not in
I
good
really want the
conscience.
Wings to knock you out. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, honey, that's not happening. But I will, I will say, whoever plays the number 1 and the number 2 seed, which is obviously going to be Chicago and Las Vegas, that first round in the playoff, both those series are probably going to be sweeps. Chicago has our number. We still got to play Chicago and Vegas one more time this season, and we got to play ATL, who has us figured out. It's rough for Dallas right now. I would not say that we're going to beat Chicago. Chicago is such a well-balanced team. Like if you go to the box score and you look, like you have CP3 put up 20, Misamin put up 18, Kalia, she put up 18 as well. So like it's a really well-balanced team. The problem is over there with Vegas, you got explosive type of balance. You got 24 from KP. You got 19 from the point guard. And then you have Asia Wilson, who is 17 and 17.
Ooh.
Chelsea Gray, she's the point guard. She's the point guard.
No.
Get it right?
No, she's
yes,
not.
She is.
No, she's
See,
not.
that's what Chris Paul wishes he was.
But what I was
Oh,
disappointed,
Well,
I was
she was a
disappointed
real
in was
quarterback.
actually the performances from the Vanderquicks. Like it was a little lackluster.
Courtney was
it
coming
really-
off injury. Okay, she was in concussion
Understand.
protocol, and I'm
No,
not one to make excuses.
hold on. I'm not criticizing her. This was a game that really didn't matter, like John said. This isn't something that's really going to matter.
Everything about how does it not matter?
I understand that, but when I'm saying like towards the playoffs, it doesn't count towards anything towards the playoffs. And right now we're at the end of the season. That's what every single one of these ballers and their coaches are thinking about. They're thinking about that championship ring. That's what they're concerned about. You need to be concerned about Seattle. You need to be concerned about Washington. But fortunately, they're probably going to be facing each other in the first round. So one of them is going to be handled.
And
right
I'm going to
away.
get a picture with Coach Tibbs on the court when the Mystics win the championship. So, Eric, I'll make sure I have that.
Man, all I know is the Mercury are going to go on like a 7-8 game win streak. You saw what Taurasi and Skylar Diggins-Smith did to Seattle the other night, right? Oh, here he is.
Just remember, John, I did it first.
That looks like a cardboard cutout. It really does.
It really does with the virtual background.
Just remember, John, I did it first, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
Well, look, when the Mercury win 8 in a row, get 7 and 8 in a row, they go on a nice win streak, they get in the playoffs, and then they're lighting people up. That's when I'll
That's
talk
a nice impromptu question. What happens to Phoenix when BG comes back?
She's not
playing this season.
She's not playing. Like they won't let her play. She's not allowed to play.
It's not that she won't.
that.
Hold on. It's not that she won't play.
She won't be conditioned.
I just don't think,
Probably
John, after
not.
going through what she has been through, like ask yourself that question honestly. Okay, you've been away from your family for 160
She's
days.
a mother.
And you've
She's
been
a mother.
locked in a cell.
BG is the ultimate competitor, and I think what she would want to do is kick
Maybe.
ass. And I think as long as she's conditioned and they say she could pass a condition test and all that, I think that the first thing she would want to do once she sees her family, she'd be like, I want to go and get my team back in good shape and make a run at the playoffs. That's the type of competitor I think she is. And I think as long as they let her, I think that's what she would do.
John, I will agree with you, but I'm going to defer to Megan on this one. As a woman, I have no clue. So I'm going to defer to the Queen of Hoops on this one.
I feel like there are a lot of things that you can do in a jail cell to stay in some type of shape, sit-ups, push-ups, some type of weight work, but you're not conditioned to run up and down the court. So I don't think she's probably going to be in the physical or mental health ready to be on the court if she were to come home within the next week or two, or even before the playoffs. Now, and there's no guarantee that the Mercury's even making the playoffs, because if you're watching the standings right now between the 6th and the 11th seed, there is only 3 games separating those 5 teams. Now, Indiana's the only team that's actually out. It has to be something miraculous for New York or Minnesota to do it. It's really between ATL, LA, Dallas, and the Mercury. And so there's no guarantee.
We saw what just happened with LA, right?
Well, no, Liz is a non-factor for LA. There's still going to be something to reckon with in the playoffs. I think NECA has been falling out. Even without her, she hadn't been putting up big numbers. The only time that she's putting up big numbers is when she's playing teams like Dallas. So no, I'm just being real. She put up 24 points on us.
You think she's got a problem with your team or the organization in some way? I mean,
I think she's got a problem with the WNBA as a whole. That's what I think.
So Megan, you and I, you were gracious enough to have me on your show last night, Three Chicks in a Pod, and we did discuss this. So I want to get Mike's opinion, and I'd like to get John's opinion. Just what you both think about this whole Liz Cambage situation. So, gentlemen, I'm going to put it on the two of you.
Well, I mean, from the travel from last year, John, I mean, she called it out. And I mean, I know we had a discussion with Raylan debate, like if one owner can afford to pay for it, it's unfair to everybody else. You know, she got annoyed with that. She left, obviously. And again, Vegas was a good team, very solid team last year. Yeah, and Becky Hammon comes in, and now she goes to the Sparks. And I know I read I know you saw it too, but like, you know, she was unhappy about, you know, team meetings and video, and then also like her jersey number. I mean, just getting like, and again, as an athlete, believe me, I was the same way. Like, there are so many.
But should that be enough to affect your relationship with the team?
No, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That's my point. She's been volatile about a lot of stuff. Yeah. And the travel thing, again, I get it. Like, she's trying to stand up for everybody else, and maybe she felt abandoned by her teammates. And, you know, even though the coaches, because Eric played that statement, you know, when we saw the coach talking about, you know, taking 5 different flights just to get the team to the playoff spot. So, look, for her, I mean, will a team sign her if they're smart? Hell yes. If they're making a playoff run, why would you not want that talent on your roster? But
is it worth the headache?
This is twice in less than a year.
But, I mean, this reminds me of Antonio Brown, because, like, he keeps burning bridges, and clearly, like, nobody wants him anymore because he just burned all the bridges he can. And the WNBA is a lot smaller scale in regards to, like, there's a lot less teams. There's a lot less roster spots than, you know what I mean? Like, in the NFL, there's 32 teams. WNBA, there's a lot less spots. So, like, you're burning bridges. You already burned bridges on 2 teams. Like, do you really want that drama if you're already burning all these bridges?
2?
Yeah. Dallas? Oh, 3. I'm sorry.
Dallas?
I was just going by the last.
Las Vegas.
No, there's nobody that wants to touch her right now. There's nobody that wants to touch her right now. And I felt it really strange anyway that she went to LA. And okay, so the Ogumake sisters, right? They're of Nigerian descent. And so her altercation with the Nigerian team, one of the younger Ogumake sisters plays on that team. And then here she is teammates with these young ladies. And, or not young.
I thought it was Australian.
Well, Liz plays for the Australian.
Liz is Australian. She got into it with the Nigerian team last summer. Right. And so I can't imagine if she made these types of comments to my little sister, and now we got to be teammates. I'm like, Shanae, like it's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I think she also called Shanae out on her media stuff too, and not taking maybe some stuff too seriously, because obviously her being on ESPN and getting that, you know, obviously getting
ESPN, the DJ booth. ESPN, the DJ booth. Which one is sports related?
Oh, I know, no, but right.
No, absolutely. I think
I'm just saying she called her out on
Fisher bought into the drama with Liz and like, oh, we're gonna make the offense all about you. And then the interim guy comes in and he likes a fast-paced offense. When have you ever seen Liz be fast? Never.
Yeah, but she can dominate down low.
She's slowing it down.
Yeah.
Facts. All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to show some love to our brothers who are coming back next month. Say What, Say It Again, Tuesday nights on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back to the Sports Arena Live on a Wednesday night. Your man Eric Wilson alongside Blue Hawks 13, John Shear, Mike Caratenuto, Believe in the Pac-12, and our Queen of Hoops, Dallas Wing representative, Miss Megan Price, San Antonio Spurs. And, Megan, doggone it, I don't have it. I meant to show you the shirt that I got from last weekend when I was at the soccer game.
Oh, great.
How was that, by the way? I forgot to ask you on Monday. How was your first visit to see teams play on the pitch like that?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you
Probably
what.
won't go again.
Say
And
what?
they're much better this
Huh?
season than they have been in the last few years, Arsenal. Like they, last season I think they were down at like 18 or 19th in Premier League. This season they finished what, fifth? Is that right, Mike? Fifth or
Fifth, yeah, fifth.
Now,
fifth?
listen, it
I think
was
they
a
finished fifth,
preseason-
so they're much improved.
It was a preseason game, but for Arsenal to come out and put up 4-0 on Chelsea, I mean,
Oh, beautiful. I love
that
seeing
does
Chelsea
speak
lose.
to
I love it.
something. And so, Megan, I have to tell you this. I have mad love for you, and in a lot of ways, I think you are probably one of the most well-rounded, put-together people. We all got our flaws. Let's be perfectly clear about it. Unfortunately, you being a Cowboys fan, that's one. But now you're also a Tottenham fan, and I was like, really? I was like, come on, Megan. So
Don't worry. We haven't won a piece of silver in 60 years.
but still, it's like,
but it's my team. It's my team. I love them. We made Champions League. We're moving in a great direction right now.
They
Harry
are.
Kane probably not going to lose.
say.
I was
gonna
about to say
say-
we're moving in a great direction now.
Right.
Will it amount to anything? I don't know. I
And-
think we have one of the world's best players on our team in Son though. So and pair him with Harry Kane, we're dangerous.
all right.
And the
Listen,
and the women.
Speaking
the
of
women's-
dangerous, Mike,
No, I was
we'll
gonna
come
say-
back to it.
All right.
We just really, you got 30 seconds. Go.
I was going to say the Women's Euro Cup. England's playing Germany on Sunday. The English women, they look good, man. And Germany,
Yeah, I saw that.
They beat France today, so no one's ever sad when France loses. I mean, the fact that beat up on Italy, I almost broke my TV and my phone. That wouldn't have been a good idea, but I almost smashed the TV when France beat them 5-1. But yeah, it'll be a hell of a final, though.
Look at that. 17 seconds. Bravo.
Love
Bravo
it.
to Mike. All right. So, got two more topics. We'll see if we can get to them. If not, we'll definitely bring it up at another time, I'm sure. But I wanted to talk about this, and this might have to become a rant. I don't know, but let's talk about this, okay? We live in a day and age where there are a lot of keyboard warriors. And I think for the most part, most of us, we try not to be keyboard warriors. At least none of us here. If we got something to say, we're going to say it. If you don't like it, too bad, so sad. Change the channel. However, I guess still in the NFL, there are individuals who feel as though they don't have the gumption, they don't have the wherewithal, and they don't have the sack to put their name on something when speaking about an NFL quarterback. So to the anonymous DC who said that even if Lamar Jackson won 12 MVPs, I still wouldn't put him as QB1 because I want to be politically correct with this, and hopefully I'm saying this right. Sir, you can kiss my black behind. Because that was probably one of the most disrespectful things you could say about a man who has continually been removing all the obstacles that everybody has put in front of him. And the fact that you would not put your name on this leads me to believe one of a number of things. Either number one, you were racist, and it would be no surprise to me. Number two, Lamar Jackson beats you so bad that you're lucky to still have a job in the NFL. Or number three, you have to play him this year, and so you don't want to give him bulletin board material specifically due to your team. But you've already done it because the brother already got a chip on his shoulder. So that's my take on it. Queen of Hoops, I'm going to let you go.
Well, I'm going to just kind of piggyback off of a couple of things you said. I do believe Lamar is going to be coming in with a chip on his shoulder. When he turned down his, negotiating his extension, he said, I want to focus on the season. I want to focus on winning. I think that told us his mind frame. All of us should expect where his mind is going to be. And I think that's been the biggest problem the last few years. I mean, except for this past year because he was injured ending the season. So, I think that that just lets us know where his mind frame is. He is definitely going to be coming in with a chip on his shoulder. And then also, I want to say being a keyboard warrior, hiding behind your profile picture, to me, it's not a whole lot different than hiding behind a white hood. And I've said this plenty of times before. Now, while it doesn't necessarily have, the statement doesn't have racial undertones, it kind of just, I don't know, it's an attitude within the NFL, it seems like. And we see a lot of it. We see some of these coaches and some of these higher up execs that are actually getting called out for that. And so it's a culture that the NFL has. And so I'm like you, Eric, I'm willing to bet that they're probably a racist. And so I hope that Lamar comes back and he gives it to him.
And here's my whole thing. Every year it seems like there's a new obstacle for Lamar Jackson to overcome. Not saying that the other 31 quarterbacks don't have obstacles. Let me be very clear about that. But it just seems like the focus tends to be on, okay, well, Lamar did this. Let's see if he can do this. When we're not saying that about other quarterbacks who might be a step above or way below him. We're not saying that about them. We're just saying either A, they need to improve, or B, they need to remain consistent. But with Lamar Jackson, there always seems to be another hoop for him to jump through. And I'll turn it to John Scheer.
Yeah. Anytime I hear a report about somebody saying, well, an anonymous such and such, an anonymous player, an anonymous coach, or whatever, I just think it's clickbait. I mean, maybe it's true, but I always just chalk it up to, this is a story somebody's trying to get clicks or trying to generate some sort of money for themselves or whatever. That's what I always attribute it to. Like, and because if they're not putting the name to the story, then I just assume that it's fake. That they're just coming up with a story so that way they can make money. Like, that's what I was attributed to. Otherwise, like you guys said, the person's just a coward. They can't own up to their own words. If you're gonna say it, like, put your name behind it. I don't know if they're racist. I have no idea. I can't necessarily say that because, like, I would have to have more information. But, like,
Right.
I think they're a coward. If you're going to say something and you're not going to own it, I think that's cowardice.
Fair enough. Mike, what have we been saying since we've known each other? What did our mothers teach us back in the day? If you ain't got nothing nice to say, shut the hell up.
Pretty much. No, I mean, and this is what, it's not even being a keyboard warrior. If he was and I kind of agree, John, sort of clickbait, but, you know, this time of year, obviously coming into camp and, you know, I mean, coming into camp and the season, you always get, you know, the GM's pick for who they think's going to win the Super Bowl, their favorite or their favorites to get there and win it, and, you know, MVP and all that stuff. So, you know, it's all the GMs, but no GM wants to put their name on it. And that's annoying, but I crack up because, yes, I was going to say that too, Eric. Here, nothing nice to say. You don't have to say it at all. But I don't know why I have to be a broken record on this show about Lamar Jackson. Even back when I had you back on when I was doing the Sports Hangover, like, trade up for this man. Bobby Petrino, worthless, yes, but not worthless because he ran a pro offense. Lamar Jackson, when he won the Heisman, probably should have finished second that year, but he won it. But the next year, he should have won it again, because he's even more accurate. I just want to say, like, his rookie year, I know, you know, it was 2018, but his completion percentage was 58.2. And granted, it was a lot of, you know, just half the field and gadget stuff. But then he went from 58.2 to 66.1. And then the last 2 years, Eric, at 64.4. And he missed 5 games last year because, you know, that was just the Ravens. Everybody had to be everybody got injured. So he misses 5 games. And this is a guy that's like a 3,000-yard passer and a 1,000-yard rusher. But if you're completing 65% of your passes in the NFL, like, it's not like guys are sitting there like stopping and like turning around and making, you know, all these insane catches because they're not there. His accuracy has gotten better every year, even in college. And yeah, it's an adjustment to the NFL. So yeah, this, you know, punk ass who doesn't want to put his name on it. It's like, put your name on it. You know, Bill Polian apologized. He was saying, you know, Lamar Jackson probably should be a receiver or running back because look at his athletic ability. He's saying, yeah, he can throw the ball, but will he be accurate in the NFL? It's obviously different than what he saw. And Bill Polian, after 2019, he's like, you know what? I was wrong. I've been wrong as a GM, but he owned it. Like me, you know, I'll sit there and I'll own anything. So yeah, I'm with John. I can't send these clickbait things, but if people can't read the stats, you're not completing 64% of your passes. Oh, and not all of them are like a 2-yard little dump to the running back. So I just don't understand it. Like, nobody's saying he's Patrick Mahomes, or might not say he's Aaron Rodgers, but they're also not him. Like, his arm is a cannon. Like, this dude.
Well, it would be stupid, Mike, for anybody to try and put him in that boat, because that's not what he is.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, but all quarterbacks are always going to be compared. I mean, it already started.
Yeah, I know, but it
Joe
would just
Burrow,
be stupid
everything
to
with
say
Joe
he's not
Burrow-
Aaron Rodgers. Like,
Right,
of
but
course he's not
everything-
Aaron Rodgers.
Everything with Joe Burrow, people were like, "Oh, Joe Burrow's probably going to take a step back." I'm like, dude came off an injury and took a step forward. Like, the
Right.
Bengals adjusted. Like, talented quarterbacks, like, just don't forget how to play. Like, you're going to have to make adjustments. Like, whoever it is. So yeah, do I think Burrow will have a good year? Yeah. Do I think their schedule is absolutely? I mean, if the Ravens stay healthy, just in the division, their schedule
It'll
got
be a lot harder. Yeah.
right, got equally harder. So I mean, but for Lamar Jackson, like, all you gotta do is smile and nod and just play the game, and you'll get your money. And people can say, "Oh, this year he could throw 66%." They'll be like, "Well, those 45 or 50-yard passes, Eric, they were a few yards short because the receiver had a turn." I mean, they're just gonna find something else to bitch about, which is thrilling, but we have to waste time to talk about it.
I know. I agree. And Megan, don't think you're going to try to be running around or hiding on us when we start doing the AFC North, because you're going to have to come on this show.
Yes, Cincinnati.
Oh, Lord.
Talk about your
Oh,
2
Lord.
and 15 Cincinnati
2-15.
Bengals.
Okay, we all thought he was going to take a step back. That injury that he took, it was the same injury.
Not
that
like you.
I
handled
didn't
Carson
say a
Wentz.
step back. I
Mike
said
had the Texans going 0 and
okay.
17.
Thank you, Texans fans. I know I'm done with them.
Yes. John Shear, we got a couple minutes left, my brother. Talk to me about my boy, my hometown guy, even though he's out there on the left coast, the west coast, Mr. Mike Trout, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is the end of elite Mike Trout. I mean, he's still going to play baseball at some point in his career, but I think the best of Mike Trout, I think that those days are gone. With this rare injury that he has, the doctor said he hasn't seen a lot of it in his career, and then it's in a guy that has to play center field for the Angels and do all that he does. He's going to have to go through a lot of cortisone shots. He's going to have to go through a lot of pain management. The rest of his career, he's going to have to deal with this rare back injury, and it's never going to go away for the rest of his career, at least. I think that we've seen the best of Mike Trout. I don't even know if we get a couple more years out of Mike Trout. Like, honestly, I could see with how players retire, Mike, and you know how this is with players retiring early. Like, I honestly could see Mike Trout like hanging it up at 32.
Well,
like, just saying the back injury is just,
and it just
you know what I
feels
mean?
like Prince Field. It feels like Prince Fielder all over again. I
right.
literally
Because, I mean,
cried
like, if
when
you're
that
Mike
happened because
Trout,
he finally got somebody who's good.
if you're Mike Trout and you know this is never going away, you're going to look at it and say,
Well, no,
like,
but John,
do I
two
really want to,
things,
like,
two things. Question: he can't. From what I read, I mean, they won't do it now. I think again, they'll try and play this season, like you said, or
well, they
maybe
said
even
they
DH.
might. They probably
But-
will shut him down the rest of this year. They're not
Okay,
making the
right.
playoffs.
They didn't make that decision yet, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
leaning that way. But he could have surgery on it. It's not. They didn't say it wasn't
But
correct.
they
to go
did
by
say this
surgery.
will never go away. The rest of his career, he'll have to deal
Right,
with this.
yeah,
surgery.
they did
So
say
now,
that.
do you think that, because Shohei, I mean, I know again they can do it in the offseason, but you think Shohei's like, forget this, man, I'm out of here. You couldn't get Trout to the playoffs. Look what he did. He's hurt. You think Shohei's gone too?
I don't think he's going. I mean, if I'm the Angels, I would definitely consider getting rid of him and getting a haul back. Why not? I mean, if you know Mike Trout is in his career's in jeopardy, which it looks like it is, you got to rebuild. You got nothing outside of those two. And if you're losing Trout, Ohtani's not going to take you to the playoffs. Like, one guy in baseball is not going to do it.
Well, no.
Baseball's
I mean,
not
Trout
that
couldn't
sport.
take the Angels to the playoffs by
No,
himself. I get
baseball's
it.
not that sport
Right.
where you can do that. So, yeah,
All
I
right.
definitely think you should do that.
This is a hard thing for me because y'all know I got much love for that brother. I wish he would have came home. But final thoughts from our Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price. Anything you want to talk about before we ride out of here tonight? We got about a minute left.
Absolutely. If you haven't tuned into the WNBA at all this season, now is the time to do it. Each team has about 7 to 8 games left. And while the 1 through 5 seeds are basically pretty much set, the 6 through 9 seeds are, the Wings won one game and they moved all the way up and tied for 6th. and the mercury dropped back down. So these next few games are going to be vital. It's going to be very competitive. And that first round of the playoffs is set to be really exciting too. Expect something similar to what the NBA does with their format: 1 versus the 8, 2 versus the 7, and no more single elimination rounds anymore in the first round. Single game elimination. It's a 3-game series, and then the rest of the playoffs is 5-game series.
All right. That's going to do it for us here tonight on the Sports Arena. For Mike Caratenuto, John Shear, Megan Price, Ray Lynn, Ty Ray, your man Eric Wilson. We will see you guys on Monday. Everyone have a great weekend. See ya.